towed it to, I think it was...
well, they actually don't...
I don't remember the shop's name, but...
They put your bike in a sling. Most of them, that's what they do. They put your bike on a sling. If they don't load it on the back of their truck, they put it on a sling. And then you risk your paint getting scratched, you risk getting dents. No way. And on top of it, depending on the time of the year and what time of night it is, if you get a flat tire at night on a motorcycle, I'm going to tell you, you ain't going to get it home for $100. I bet you'll find it at least $200 to $300 to get it gouged. So make sure you have that coverage on your insurance. Otherwise, you're out there riding. And make sure you have a cell phone too, because I tell you, without a cell phone and without a patch kit and compressor, I don't even like riding my bike 20 miles away from the house, because I have used a patch kit one time. And, I am one of these type people. They say, oh, you get a nail hole in your tire, then you need a new tire. I'm going to tell you this. On a front tire, I'm going to make sure that if I even get any type of a hole in it, I'm going to replace the tire. But you know what? I'll be honest with you. I have patched a tire in the back, and I'm not worried if it goes flat again. It's not like
back tire is not
as critical as the front. Critical. But then a lot of times too, if you're sitting there with a tubeless, Meg wheels, tubeless tires, honestly, you can actually go get a tube and have that installed for like $50, $60. Now, depending on the type of bike you have, like my back tire is like $300 and some dollars. Well, I'll tell you, if I go put a $300 and some dollar tire back on my bike and I go riding, all of a sudden I get a screw in it or a nail in it, you think I'm going to go dump another $300 out the same week for another tire? It is not going to happen. It's going to get patched. You can patch it on the inside and that. And I'm telling you, I'm old school. And I've never had a problem doing that. And that don't scare me. I'll be honest with you. It does scare me on a front tire, though. I'm going to tell you that. I would never ride a tire that's been fixed on the front.
Well, because, see, you tend to wobble more. You tend to wobble more at high speeds. So if you have a tire that's used or that's been recently patched and you're going high speeds, like really high speeds, over 80, 90 miles an hour, and you start to wobble, you don't know what that tire is going to do. You don't know if it's going to pop again, or you don't know if it's going to go flat.
It's not that. It's actually the wobble can get you. Was that 2 years ago when we were going through the desert, Kevin? And remember that big semi truck? And there was a whole bunch of semi trucks, and they were going maybe the speed limit, and we were kind of antsy because we wanted to get to Las Vegas. So you and Ricky decided to go ahead and pass the semi truck. And of course, you slowed down a little bit as you were passing, and I was right behind you. But I think I hit about 95 miles an hour passing the semi truck. And what scared me is there was other semi trucks coming on this 2-lane road in the desert, going probably 80 miles an hour, the opposite direction, coming right towards me. I barely got in front of that bumper of that truck that I passed. Otherwise I would have been just like leftover meat on the road. But what I noticed after going up to 95 miles an hour is when I started slowing down, I started getting the wobbles. Not in the back, but from the front. And it turned out to be when I got back, Larry told me at the shop that my front bearings needed to be lubed and adjusted. And I tell you, it's scary, because when I got up to 95, I had accelerating, no wobbles. But when I came down from 95, I think I got back down to around 60, 65. That front of that bike was shaking like you wouldn't believe. Well, then I never had the problem on the rest of the trip. It was just that one time, but after that, it cured me. I didn't go up to 95 miles an hour again and slow down like that.
That's because the tire was getting extremely hot, and you're going at excessive speeds. You got to think about the temperature you're going at, and the bearings were handling all that temperature.
Oh yeah, that temperature. And you know what, too? What I found, boy, when you get into like Las Vegas or Reno or any place like that, and you rent a hotel or a motel room, make sure you park your bike right in front of your spot.
Definitely.
Because remember in Las Vegas, we were at that one hotel, Motel 6.
Motel 6.
Motel 6.
We went to the casino.
And we came back, and there was people sitting on one of the bikes.
Well, they put their children on our bikes, and the first thing we're thinking of like, oh no, what are they doing? Like, what if we just got off our bikes and, you know, they could have sat on our bikes and burnt their legs or something on our
Not just that, the bikes were cold, but first thing you figure
what if
it was
you
a
don't know?
group of them. Okay, there was a group, probably about 5 or 6 guys and 1 or 2 women. Okay, and they couldn't speak English, and I'm not going to say anything more than that. Okay, you come back and you've had a couple drinks and you're at the casino, right? You come back and you find people sitting on your bike, right, taking pictures of their kids on their bike, and then you sit there and you tell them nicely, please don't sit on my bike.
And they still continue to
Yeah,
do
they
it.
continue to, and then they kind of like threaten you, like, you know, like they're going to kill you type of thing. And it escalated so bad that we actually had to get security involved. We had to change rooms and move to another part of the hotel or motel. And it really was upsetting. I mean, there you're sitting at, between the 3 bikes, around $80,000 worth of bikes. And people are sitting on them, smoking on while they're sitting on your bikes. And, you know, I don't let nobody... I don't even, as you know, I let you ride my bike, what, once or twice?
Once or twice.
Yeah, I'm really fanatic. I don't want anybody riding my bike. I don't want anybody sitting on my bike.
And I'm pretty sure there's other bikers out there that don't want other people sitting on their bikes either, because it's money. It's like cars. Let's say you invested a large amount of cash in something and someone comes over like, oh, I'm taking your money, and walks away. Because it's almost the same thing. What if somebody comes over, sits on your bike, and drops it? Oh, I'm sorry for dropping your bike, and then walks away. Like, now I'm out 20 grand. That's why we don't like people sitting on our bikes or anything like that.
Yeah, and you know, I hate to say it, when I go into those hotels, I take everything out of my hard saddlebags.
That too.
But I will not lock my saddlebags while we're out there. And the reason why I don't lock it, because I feel that somebody's going to sit there and they're going to break my hard saddlebags trying to get into them to steal something.
That stuff has happened.
Yeah, I mean, look at what happened to you one time. You went to the casino, and somebody, if I remember right, you were talking about you rode home, and one of your bags was not even, the lid wasn't even on.
I know, right? That was funny.
Oh, the bolts were,
the bolts were completely removed. So I was coming back from, no, this was actually at Cliff's Motorcycles, and no, this was actually at a motorcycle shop in Bremerton. The bolts were removed. And I was...
well, they were trying to steal your
my
hard
toe
saddlebag. But you know what? They didn't even know what they're doing, because all they had to do was take 2 pins and twist them, and they could have lifted it off.
But they were taking bolts off.
Yeah, they were taking the lid cover. There's a bunch of bolts on each side. They were unbolting it that way. Boy, I tell you, they must not have been experts on stealing parts off of motorcycles. I can tell you that.
Or they must not know anything about Harleys if they were unbolting it.
You know, and you know what I really liked? You know, I had the VTX Honda, and that was okay. But I'll tell you, of all the bikes, honestly, that I really liked, and it was that Honda 750 Ace. I loved it. The problem is, it was just a little bit, I'm a big guy, and it was a little too small for me. But I'll tell you, I loved that bike. It was one of the bikes you could just put a couple bucks on in the gas tank, and you could ride it all day. And you never had to worry about anything other than cleaning the chain. That's the only thing I didn't like about that one road trip we went on to. Every 100 and some miles, I had to lube and clean the chain.
And you got to tighten it, too. And the thing is, about a chain bike, you got to worry about what if it breaks or snaps while you're riding, and you're like, oh, shit, now your bike's not working because
Well, not just that,
the
but
chain snapped.
Okay, but yeah, also if you
constantly worry about that.
If you're riding a Yamaha, for example, or a Harley with a belt drive, you're always worrying about the belt breaking too. That can break, and then you're stuck. Or you can have one of the other type of drive systems, and a gear can break in that. So I mean, yeah, the whole point is it's called maintenance. You want to check your bike over on a regular basis. Okay, you don't want to ride a chain more than about 10,000 miles if you're going to be doing, a lot of riding because you want to make sure you're not going to get stuck. I mean, what do you do if your chain breaks and you're out in the middle somewhere? Are you going to use what?
You're screwed if you do that.
Yeah, well, you could be. And the bad problem is, when I was a little kid one time, I was probably about 8, 9 years old. My brother was into motorcycles too. And we went for a long ride. And I tell you, we ran out of gas. And we started trying to push the bike back. Well, you're going to push the bike back 5 or 6 miles? Not going to happen. I think we probably pushed it a couple hundred feet and we parked it. So the time as we got to the gas station to go get a gas can and get gas, because I think that's what actually it was. It was out of gas. We got back to the bike. It was only one problem, Kevin. There was no bike there.
Yeah, usually when you leave a bike unattended on a street, freeway, or any road for that matter, and I see bikers do that all the time, and it's horrible. Like, they'd run out of gas on the freeway because they can't determine how much gas they have because they don't have a digital gas gauge or they don't have a physical gas gauge.
A lot of the bikes don't have a gauge, yeah.
Well, and also they don't have a reserve tank as well. So they have to guess how much gas they have left. And so when they run out of gas on the freeway, they leave their bike unattended to go get gas or to go get help. And some dude or some lady might walk by or might drive by like, oh, I have gas, and fill that thing up and, start it up and go.
Not just that. I watched some videos on YouTube. Some of these people who are really good at ripping off motorcycles can actually even be unlocked.
What about your bike that almost got ripped off?
Actually, it was the bike that I gave to Ricky that one day we went out and we were going to go for a ride, and it was in the man cave, and he went to, put the key in the ignition switch and turn it, and the switch just fell off, and it turned out on a Harley. You just can remove that ignition switch so easy, and you can actually unlock the thing with a crescent wrench. Bad system. Make sure you have a security system.
Always.
Oh, yeah. And also,
key fob.
And, I was watching on YouTube. This one guy was showing people how easy it is, like with a Yamaha or Honda or any of the bikes, BMX, or when you lock.
If you don't have a security system.
Yeah, but you lock the steering, you lock the forks, right? With the key on the side, and you lock it, and you think it's locked. The guy got on there on YouTube and showed how easy it was to break the lock. You just give it a hard yank to the left or to the right, and it snaps the mechanism, and boom. The next thing you know, he was loading it up in the back of a van. That's how fast. And it was probably done all with between doing that and loading the thing up was probably under 2 minutes. That scares me. So, if you run out on the freeway, man, I tell you, I wouldn't leave my bike there. I'd have a cell phone. I don't care how long I'd have to wait from there. Man, I guess got a gut feeling.
I'd probably walk it. I tried to walk it home. When I had my front tire blown out, I was like, oh, what do I do? So I try to get back on it and try to keep going, but I couldn't. So
you know how expensive
I just called
that
a tow
is?
truck.
Yeah, that's expensive. I tell you. Besides ruining the wheel, which doesn't matter. I mean, at that point, but
tire was already popped, so it's like, oh,
yeah. But the next thing is your rim will be totally toast too if you try riding it any farther than that, and then the tire is going to come off. No way. So anyway, that's about it for tonight. Tomorrow we're going to talk about some of the new bikes, some of the new Yamahas and the Indian and other bikes that are hitting the streets. We're going to talk about those and a little bit about them. So we'll be on tomorrow between 7 and 7:30. This is Motorcycle Talk with Gary and my son, Kevin. And you have to bear with us. I have had a background in broadcasting. Kevin just is learning. So both of us together, and this is new to us too. I haven't done this really for 40 years. So I hope you'll tell your friends about Motorcycle Talk and tune in. And I was wrong. It's actually not Monday through Friday. It's Monday through Thursday. And then January 7th, a new show on this network. It's called Night Dreams. It's a paranormal normal show. Premieres from 7 o'clock to 9 o'clock Pacific West Coast time. We're going to talk